Welcome back to another episode of the SNHU SMC podcast. I'm Lance. We got Billy, Joe, Ben, and Kyle for another week here. We're going to talk Super Bowl, top 5 wide receivers, and Deshaun Watson trade destinations. Cue the intro.
So, gentlemen, we're finally here. Moment we've all been waiting for. A couple teams didn't make it that we wanted to make it, notably the Patriots and the Packers.
No one wanted the Patriots to make it. But
Actually, 3 of the gentlemen here wanted the Patriots to make it, but we'll move aside. We'll move to that. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the greatest of all time, better than Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, versus Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, who's probably also better than Aaron Rodgers, but we'll get to that. Lance, who do you think's gonna win?
I don't know. Let's keep the Aaron Rodgers slander to a minimum here, but no. This is a tough one. Obviously, the storyline I picked got both my picks right last week. Luckily, I almost went Buffalo, but storyline just fits for Tampa Bay. Home Super Bowl pretty much for them. They get to practice there for pretty much an extra 5 days almost. They've already started prepping and everything. It's going to be a really good matchup. If we get the Tom Brady of the second half of the NFC Championship, then this game's an absolute blowout probably. I mean, you have the greatest quarterback of all time probably against the most talented quarterback we've ever seen of this generation for sure. Oh, man, this is tough. I'm going to go Tampa. It's so hard to bet against Tom Brady, just for me. Wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs could easily win this in a blowout, but I don't think the Super Bowl is going to go like that. Tom Brady's got 2 weeks to prep a speech to get his team pumped up, so I'm going to go Brady and the Bucs, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Chiefs. But you can tally me down for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I know the Chiefs won their game against Tampa in the regular season. I forget exactly which week it was, but I think in the playoffs, though, I'm basing my pick off of the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago between the Patriots and Chiefs, and obviously Brady showing he's clutch in the postseason. I think that was big, and I think that's going to be a big weight on people's decisions for the Super Bowl. And I personally think that Tampa Bay is going to win this weekend. And I'll give you another quick tidbit too. There's 2 things in the last few years that have never been done in the Super Bowl: an overtime Super Bowl and the team that's hosting the Super Bowl making it to the Super Bowl. Brady can now say he's been in both those categories, and I think that's another thing that's going to be interesting too. So I'm going with Tampa.
Okay. If you go by offenses, obviously it's going to be Kansas City. Tampa's just can't keep up with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. It's not possible. If you go defenses, Kansas City's defense is trash. It's pretty bad. They're pretty banged up, I think, too. So that doesn't really, help their case. But like Lance said, if you get the second half of the NFC Championship, Tom Brady, where they only scored 1 field goal, that's not looking too good. That's not looking very good at all. But like I said, again, Kansas City's defense is not that good. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm going off offense though. So I'm gonna go with Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is gonna take down the GOAT with ease.
I definitely agree with Joe for once, I think. But I Lance was saying, the storyline fits Tampa so well. And the home field advantage, 2020, everything's that happened. Their stadium, they allow people in their stadium. It's going to be filled with nurses in the pandemic. It would be very poetic for Tom Brady just to get one more Super Bowl. Or, I mean, granted, he's probably going to play for another 10 years, but just another Super Bowl to add to his collection. But the last game they played, 27-24, Pat Mahomes threw for almost 500 passing yards. But it was such a close game. Like, it's going to be a fun Super Bowl, but I think Tom Brady and Tampa has the momentum, but it's definitely a 50-50. But I'm going to, instead of who I think's going to win, I'm going to just say that I want Tampa Bay to win more than I want Kansas City to win, even though both teams, I think, are very deserving of a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, I mean, this game absolutely has the potential to be, one of the more entertaining Super Bowls we've seen over the past couple of years. And as you mentioned, I know Joe mentioned, looking at the defenses, that's going to be a huge aspect of this game. Can the Bucs defense stop Mahomes, and can the Chiefs defense stop Brady? But personally, I think Brady's pretty motivated. I know there's a story that came out earlier in the week about him chasing ring number 7. He wanted to wear the jersey number 7 before he got number 12. And like you guys said, he's going to be, home territory. He's going to feel good. It's going to be a pretty warm Super Bowl like last year. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game. It's going to be exciting to see, like you guys said, like the old veteran Brady against kind of this prodigy Mahomes. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this game because I believe in Brady, and we've seen on so many accounts how he can show up in the playoffs. Not that Mahomes can't, but I think, it could really go either way. But I think personally, I'm going to take Tampa Bay next Sunday.
Yeah,
I just want to point out I'm the only one who picked Kansas City, so I am the dark horse.
You're the white elephant in the room, and you could
you sure it's called dark horse?
It's both.
Yeah, I would say, but like Kansas City is by far the better team. Like I think they are that. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they won. I'm just going up.
I honestly think I want Tampa to win, but I think Kansas City's gonna win. Like, I genuinely think Kansas City has the more talented team, but I just want Tom Brady to win and Tampa Bay to win.
Yeah, I don't, so let's go Kansas City. Alrighty, y'all. I was on Instagram the other day, and I saw DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson were pulling. They rated their top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. And let's see if I can pull it up here. So I have it right here. DK Metcalf had Julio Jones himself, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and then tied 5th was OBJ, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown. And then Justin Jefferson had Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, himself, DK Metcalf, DeAndre Hopkins. In my opinion, DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson aren't even in the top 5 for wide receivers in the NFL. Yeah, so we're going to start off by doing that. And Lance, you can start us off with your top 5.
This is tough. I mean, I don't know, because Julio Jones is obviously, one of the best we've ever seen, one of the best to do it. I mean, great hands, he's just a stud. So it's kind of hard to keep him out of the top 5 for me. If I'm going to go off of, okay, sure. I'll just go top 5. I like the top 5 that DK Metcalf picked, but I'm going to mess with the order. I'm actually going to go D-Hop 1. I think he's an absolute stud. I think he's the best in the league. I'm going to go Devontae Adams 2, and I hope Joe likes that. I don't even know where Joe's going to put Devontae Adams, but I think Devontae Adams he could easily be number 1 next year. I mean, he's been insane this year, but I'm going to go, gosh, this is tough at 3, because it's disrespectful to put Julio Jones 5, I feel like. So I might put him, I'm going to go Jones 3, Diggs 4, Metcalf 5. That's how I'm going to do it. I was contemplating how to put 3, 4, and 5, but I just feel like you can't be disrespectful to Julio Jones. I mean,
yeah,
man is an absolute legend. I feel like he's just never going to retire. Like, the man just doesn't want to stop playing football. So, D-Hop, Devontae, Julio, Metcalf, Diggs. I think that's what I went, right? Yeah, I think that's how I went. I think
it'll replay. We'll figure it out then. But
figure it out. But yeah, no, I think that's a good top 5. I think Metcalf's had a good year and he's ascended a little bit, but easily could be outside. So
yeah, very, very difficult for me. I know number 1 for me would probably be Tyreek Hill. I've been very impressed with him this year. But the other 4 on this list, oh man, I'm having a tough time putting them in order. I know Julio Jones would definitely be on the list for me. I just don't know. Probably from 3 on down, I'd put him. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably put Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, who else? Maybe Tyler Lockett on that list too. I don't know. And I probably need one more. Yeah, this is really tough for me, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd probably just put Stephon Diggs on the list too. So those would probably be my top 5.
Alrighty. So, Lance, you actually had my first 2 picks exactly the same. I plan on going D-Hop number 1 just because he's a beast. He was a beast on the Texans. He's been a beast for Arizona, and he's going to continue being a beast for them as well. Him and Murray are gonna be a crazy quarterback wide receiver duo soon. So he's going to be at 1. Devontae Adams, he's a beast. I want to put him at 1, but he's going to be at 2. Then at 3, I got to put Tyreek Hill. I was very surprised that he wasn't in the top 5 at all for, DK Metcalf or even Jefferson. But he's going to be up there. Then I'm going to put Diggs at 4. And then Julio Jones is going to be at my 5.
Yeah, I think like the thing I'm struggling with is just like Julio Jones over the past 3 years versus Julio Jones over his career. So I think with that, just based on his career, I'm gonna have Julio Jones as 2, and I'm gonna have DeAndre Hopkins as 1, just because I think Hopkins is just more dynamic. Julio Jones, great deep threat, great talent catching the ball, but Hopkins is definitely, you see him getting more RAC, and just I think he is just more dynamic. 3 is a huge toss-up for me. I was stuck between Diggs and Adams, and I have to put Diggs just because I think Adams needs 1 more year for me personally to go up to that spot, because he has not really been a dominant receiver his entire career, when Diggs has consistently been a top threat. So then we're going to go Adams at 4. And 5 for me, I'm going to have to do Tyreek Hill. He's too fast, man.
Well, see, like,
fast.
the Tyreek Hill debate, like...
It's like, I don't know if he's a good receiver or he's just faster than everyone else.
So, like, these receivers that I picked, like, they're quick. Like, they can catch the ball. Like, they make these spectacular catches for you. Like, I feel like Tyreek Hill could be in my top 5, but, like, I don't know, like, I see him as like just a guy that he can just run long routes.
He's like go straight, go fast.
He can make big momentum plays. So that's why maybe he could be in the top 5. But like he's on the cusp. Like I feel like he could definitely be in there for me. You could probably even replace Julio Jones. Like who knows? But I just love Julio and like you gotta respect.
I think
even Larry Fitzgerald too. He's a great receiver. Like he's outside there, but like his years have gone too. So. I don't know. It's tough to do a top 5 at any position. I mean, we went top 5 quarterbacks. I mean, that'd sure be an interesting one. So maybe next week for that one. But Hill could easily be top 5. But it's kind of just like, what are you looking at? Speed, overall receiver. Who knows?
I think 5 was definitely tied for me between Hill and like Odell.
Forget about Odell too. Yeah, he hadn't played all year pretty much.
That's it's so tough with this list because there's a lot of receivers on here that. I mean, like, you can see old receivers because if you look at some of these in their prime, like Julio Jones in his prime, way, 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 way better than DeAndre Hopkins. But the past 5 years, he hasn't been consistent with a bunch of injuries, Matt Ryan being inconsistent, the Falcons blowing a 28-3 lead. Like, that stuff hurts the morale, Ben, what do you got?
Stop stealing your shine. My bad, Ben.
No, you're good. I think Joe had something to say before, just real quick. It looked like he was going to say something. I'll let him.
I do. I'll be quick about it. I just want to say that Devontae Adams has only been in the league 1 year longer than Stephon Diggs, but has almost 30 more receiving touchdowns than him. So I don't want to hear that Diggs has had a better career when Devontae Adams is sitting at a career 62 receiving touchdowns and Stephon Diggs is at 38.
All right, so before I get into my list, there's 2 players that weren't brought up that I'm kind of surprised. One's on my list and one's not on my list. One player that I wasn't surprised, or that I was surprised that no one had on my list, was Michael Thomas on the Saints. I know there's a little controversy about him. People call him like Mr. Slant as he only catches like 5-yard passes, but He's definitely in the conversation. I don't know if it's top 5, but anyways, my list 1 through 5. 1, I'll you guys mentioned DeAndre Hopkins at 1. I have Julio Jones at 2. 3 is Adams. 4 is Tyreek Hill. And then 5, no one else mentioned this, but I have Mike Evans at number 5 on my list. I think he's a fantastic receiver. You look what he's done with Brady this year, and look what he did with Winston the past couple years. I think that's my list. Those are the top 5 guys, in my opinion.
I like the Mike Evans pick. That's a good one. I was thinking about him in the back of my head, but I was like, he's probably like a good 6
He's on the borderline 5th or 6th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw him on the article I was looking at when I was making my picks, but I just didn't really consider him over the other guys that I mentioned.
All right, gentlemen. Huge toss-up in the league with Deshaun Watson recently wanting out of Houston. Second superstar in sports to want out of Houston. I don't blame them. Where do you think he's going to end up, Lance? Or where do you want him to end up to?
Unfortunately, I think Deshaun Watson, unfortunately for me because I'm a Patriots fan, is going to be ending up in the AFC East. That's where I think he's going to go. From what I've heard or what I've seen, the Jets and the Dolphins have been kind of his top 2 choices if he were to pick, which in this situation, he does have the leverage. If Houston was to be that petty and not trade him and just fine him every game he doesn't show up to, it would be ridiculous. But I think he's actually going to go to the Jets. I don't think Brian Flores is that ready to give up on Tua just yet. I don't see why. I know he kind of had a rocky patch to end last season. Well, just like the last couple games, but I mean, obviously they had Fitzmagic there to kind of fill in and have that veteran presence. But I think that's kind of what they were expecting for year 1 anyways. I was really surprised to see the quarterback change when Miami was kind of had a hot start, and they trusted Tua. He played well, didn't have the best ending. They missed out on the playoff, but I think he's going to end up with the Jets. I think it's going to be a swap for Darnold, unfortunately, which I think, 2 quarterbacks I don't think both organizations should give up on just yet, but I mean, the Jets are the Jets. Finally getting rid of Adam Gase, I think, was a great decision for that organization, but I think Watson goes to New York. I think he's going to like that kind of spotlight just to try and get the Jets back in contention. Maybe not the best team. Obviously, Houston have many weapons, but the Jets can continue to build the O-line, get some young receivers. Obviously, they have a good core. Of course, my laptop keeps going off when I'm talking, but yeah, I think it's going to be New York, and I think they trade the second pick. Wow, why is everyone texting me right now? But I think it's going to be I don't know what the trade's going to entitle, but definitely a pick in there. Houston's going to start rebuilding, and maybe around a quarterback like Sam Darnold, we'll see what they can do. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be a little bit biased as a Patriots fan, but I honestly see him maybe ending up with the Patriots, to be honest with you. I mean, Belichick has already made it known that they're parting ways with Cam Newton. He's not coming back next year. I'm sure he's looking for a very young quarterback with a lot of good vibes and wants to go far in the playoffs and bring some good momentum. And I honestly see Belichick working his magic to get Deshaun Watson somehow. I mean, honestly, he said he's going to have a lot more salary cap space this year than he did last year. So I could see him working some magic and talking him into going up to Foxborough.
I mean, that's my dream too as a Pats fan, but if not, I'm on the Mac Jones train. Kid's a stud, so I'll take him at 15. We don't end up.
Yeah, realistically, I don't think it's going to happen that he's going to go to the Patriots, but you never know.
Justin Fields could fall that low.
He's a good salesman, so.
I've seen, yeah.
It'd be cool to see Justin Fields.
But if Justin Fields fell that low, then hell yeah, I'm for it. But if not, Mac Jones all the way. Let's go. Let's get an Alabama kid in here. So
don't worry, we'll get a draft talk in a little bit in the next one. But
a couple weeks from now.
For me right now, Deshaun Watson. Only reason I say no for him going to the Patriots is because of how bad Jimmy Garoppolo has been doing in the 49ers. You know, I think he kind of wants out of the 49ers now. I think the 49ers are giving up on him, and I think he's going to go back to Bill Belichick, and he's going to become the next Tom Brady like we all thought he was going to be, because he was looking like it, he was playing like it, especially with Bill Belichick, and then they can just focus on offense at that point, like receivers help for him and stuff like that. But that's a different topic. Deshaun Watson, I would love to see him go to Miami, but at the same time, I love Tua, and I think Tua is going to do good things for Miami. I think Miami would be dumb to get rid of Tua at this stage. He didn't even have that bad of a season. He went 3-0 for his first starts, and then when they would take him out, he wasn't even doing like completely horrible. They just took him out because I guess they had more faith in Fitzmagic. Who knows? And then the Jets, I think that's honestly probably one of the perfect fits. They trade quarterbacks and then they give Houston, the second overall pick and maybe another first rounder. And there you go. You get Deshaun Watson. And then at that point, the Houston Texans can then have Sam Darnold as their quarterback, draft Devontae Smith or Chase, what's his name? Chase from LSU.
Chase from
Can't remember his name. The guy that played with Burrow in the national championship wide receiver, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yep.
Yeah, Jamar Chase. They could get him or Devontae Smith. Those are probably the two best wide receivers in the draft right now. And there's just it could work out so well with the Jets. They're so bad that they're willing to give up so much.
Yeah. So this is from the surface bias, but it comes with good intentions, and also a lot of top sports has this as one of he has it at 12.
He's not going to the Giants,
he has it as 12 on ESPN and a lot of other destinations. I also think Dave Gettleman's stupid enough to do this trade. This is where I want him. This is not where I think I want him. I think Dave Gettleman's stupid enough to get rid of our first-round picks for Deshaun Watson and get rid of Daniel Jones. I also think on the turn, Houston's stupid enough to pick up Daniel Jones because they're like, oh, here's a young quarterback. He can run fast. It's our Deshaun Watson because they traded DeAndre Hopkins for no freaking reason.
How is that dumb on Gettleman's part? That's a no-brainer. If a first and Daniel Jones, that's not stupid on their part at all.
I just think David Gettleman, I just hate him with a fiery passion because
he'd be beloved by you and all your Giants fans. So
if he makes that trade, he's executive of the year right away. You don't even have to.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either. But I would love to see him in a blue uniform. I would also love him to see him in a Patriots uniform. I think that'd be a good fit. But realistically saying, ESPN on their article, they have a really good trade. It's their third most likely destination behind Miami and Carolina, but they also have the Browns as a destination for him on this list. And but it's a three-way trade involving the 49ers, Jets, and Texans. Texans are going to receive Sam Darnold. Deshaun Watson's going to go to the 49ers, and the Jets receive Jimmy Garoppolo. And the Jets also don't have to in this pick, they'd only be getting rid of Sam Darnold and a fifth-round pick. They'd still keep their first-round pick, which I think would be huge because you could add a receiver or a key defensive player for the Jets with Jimmy Garoppolo. 49ers, I don't really like. Nick Mullins looks good. I don't think they need to waste some draft picks on Deshaun Watson, but I think like a three-way trade like that, maybe Deshaun Watson to the Jets, Jimmy G to the something between those three teams. I just feel like that's a honestly likely landing spot for him.
So, I guess this can kind of be considered a sleeper pick, only because it wouldn't shake up the NFL too much. Probably, in the public's opinion, in my opinion, I think it would make for a pretty good team. But I have Watson going to the Carolina Panthers, mostly because if you look at that offense with him implemented in there, you're going to have Watson. Also, I mean, it depends on what they give up for him, but soon they give up Bridgewater, maybe some picks, and whatever. If you have Watson in the backfield, McCaffrey in the backfield, and then you might have to give up one of those receivers, but right now they have Samuel, Moore, Anderson. You might have to give up one of them. But if they could pull that off and then make some adaptations to their defense, get the line healthy, it would make the NFC a lot more interesting. So that's the team I want. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd be surprised, but you never know. I mean, sometimes trades surprise you. Stuff happens. So, we'll see what goes down over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and I've also heard the team that screwed up and didn't take him when he was a draftee, the Bears might be on him too. I don't know if he wants to go there. I just heard they are interested mightily. So
I think
I doubt.
I would hate it if he went to Chicago.
I know. I feel like he would. I think Chicago would be fine with him, but I think they're so stubborn with Mitchell Trubisky for some reason. I
think they just need all they would have to do if they could get to Watson, they would just have to get one more really good wide receiver, and they could be a Super Bowl contender, no doubt.
Oh yeah, with that defense. Yeah.
Oh
That'd
my God.
be ironic if the team that brutally screwed up and like didn't even talk to him
Ended up trading for him.
ended up trading for him. Yeah.
They didn't even talk to Mahomes either, I don't think.
So we'll see if that organization can save themselves.
But
Yeah.
see, do you view that as an L though for the organization if you missed out on this player? I mean, yeah, you're still getting Watson, but if you evidently have to give up picks for him or give up, assets, do you consider that a loss for your organization when you could have just drafted him for
You're making
free
up.
in the first place?
You're making up.
I know it's a hypothetical, but and hindsight
get,
always
like,
2020, but
They've been kind of getting taunted about that ever since Watson just came into the league.
Right.
Like, after his first, I mean, Trubisky had a great, I wouldn't say great, but he had a decent first couple of years and then kind of just went downhill. But I mean, Watson was easily better than him throughout that. So ever since Watson's rookie year, I think they've kind of been, and obviously Mahomes. I mean, there's no denying that. But I mean, maybe an L, but I think you make up for losses, and if you get a championship out of it, then not too bad.
It's such a tough situation with like quarterbacks because you either have a phenomenal quarterback where they can be on a crap team and still perform, like Deshaun Watson, like Aaron Rodgers. Even though Packers aren't, I'm not saying the Packers are bad, but Aaron Rodgers still plays well when he didn't have like weapons necessarily. And yeah, the Packers all played well.
Honestly, he's always had weapons.
Yeah. Low key.
He's always had James Jones, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb.
I just don't think they draft him help, but I think he's always had some good guys with him.
Yeah.
Like if he had one more guy, then like, oh my God, the Packers are insane. But like, what I mean?
It's
like,
not the offense with that's the Packers' problem. Because they played a perfect football game against Tampa. It was a penalty that honestly screwed them away from that win and a bad coaching decision.
It was a bad coaching decision, and it was a bad call.
Not the jersey grab, right?
No, the jersey grab.
I'm just gonna play a clip of the jersey grab, and we'll leave it at that.
No, I say it's a bad call because not that it wasn't. I'm not saying that it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
All afternoon.
They had like 7 other PI calls that they weren't calling the entire game, and then you call it in the final 2 minutes when it literally decides who wins the game.
NFL
you can't do that.
NFL refs have been very inconsistent. I will say they are a lot better than NBA refs, but NFL refs have been a little bit rough. I think they're improving though.
Thanks y'all for coming and watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and go check out SNHU Sport Management on Instagram, Twitter, all the above. And don't forget to, if you want to come and join us, just shoot us an email and we'll add you into the group. All right. Peace out, y'all.